Hi everyone, welcome to the virtual pet application for Group 15 for CS2212. My name is Omar and I will walk you through what we were able to do for this project in this semester. So as you can see, this is our main screen over here. We have a bunch of different options. We have start new game, continue game, tutorial, parental controls, or exit. So before we actually start a new game, let's take a quick look at the tutorial page and see what it tells us. So as you can see, the tutorial page gives you, first of all, a brief little introduction, and then if we go to the next page, it tells you the game basics of what the game is about, and then if you go next, it gives you what the pet stats mean, what the health means, hunger, happiness, sleep, and so on, and it tells you what happens if they decrease. Then we have the action menus, the command menus that we have, what that means as well, and then if we go next, we have the inventory and shop, and then finally, the final slide we have is scoring and survival, and how that works. So that is the tutorial page. It gives you a very brief overview of what the game is and how you can play it. So if we click the done button at the bottom, and then we take a look at the parental control screens next. So the parental control screens is locked by a hard-coded password that we have. So if we try to enter a wrong password, so if we say ABC, for example, and we try to confirm, it says access denied, right? So you do have to type in the correct password. So this time, let's type in the correct password, which is 123, and it lets us in. So we have a bunch of different options here, right? So obviously, we see that it tracks player statistics and the hours that we have, and then we also have allowed play times. So if we enable allowed playtime restriction, and we change it, let's say, from 20 to 24, so we'll say the player can only play from 10 to 12, so we'll say 20, and then we'll change the other one to 24, and then we save the settings, and then we exit, and then we try to start a new game. We cannot, right? So we're only allowed to play during those times, and the playtime restriction works. So let's just go back to parental controls and toggle that off so we can actually do it. Yeah, let's toggle that off, and then we save the settings. And obviously we can also reset statistics as well if we wish to. Let's reset it actually. Yeah, let's click on yes, and we see that everything gets reset back to 0. So let's go back to the main menu, and let's actually start a new game this time. So if we start a new game, we are taken to the pet selection screen. So we see that we have 4 different pets that we can choose from, and we can either click on the about. So let's click on about for one of them. And we see that it gives a little bit of a description over here. So what we chose to do is we chose to have every single pet having different statistics. So we see that Debachi, for example, his health is a bit higher, his happiness is a bit lower, and his sleep and hunger rate are close. But if we look at another pet, if you look at the monkey, for example, we see that his health is a bit lower, but his happiness is also a bit higher. So every pet we have here has different statistics, and it also tells you, if you scroll down over here, your playstyle compatibility. So if you're a bit newer to the game, or you're a bit more of a chilled player, you would choose a character with higher health, or if you like to take care of your pet, you would choose a character with lower health but higher hunger rate, and you can pick and choose like that. And then we also have a locked pet at the end over there, so obviously you cannot click it. If you try to buy it, it won't let you. And obviously a brief description over here of what it does. So let's just click on any pet. We'll just click on Debachi, for example, and we'll choose it. We'll give him a name, whatever we wish to. We'll name it Omar, and it'll ask us if we want to confirm yes, and we'll just create a save file for this. So we'll say the pet. And it takes us to the game screen. So as you can see here in the top right, we have the score counter, which gradually goes up over time. And we can also see at the bottom that the hunger, happiness, and sleep rate are going down over time. And we can see that the health bar doesn't. So how the game works is just a brief overview, because I don't think we read over the tutorial, is once the hunger rate completely reaches 0 or the sleep reaches 0, the health rate goes down. So if we go to the shop, we can see that we have the inventory, the locked pet in the pets section that you can buy, and then in the shop you can actually buy some stuff. So let's buy some oranges. We can see that it costs 10 over here. We see that we bought 3, and then let's actually try to feed our pet. So we open up the commands bar. So we try to feed it, and our pet's very happy. So if you also notice, our pet blinks from time to time to let you know that it's still alive. Okay. So as you can see, we got a little notification that the hunger rate is very low. So let's quickly feed our pet. So we go to the command, let's quickly feed him, and we see that it's happy and the hunger rate's going up again. But he's also going down in happiness. So let's quickly take him for a walk. So his happiness rate is low, So we're gonna take it for a walk. And we see that made him happy, but his hunger rate went down because the walk makes him tired. So we're gonna feed him an orange again. Let's feed him. There we go. So we see that this game is very interactive. The health bars go down, everything goes down. So let's see what happens when the hunger rate completely reaches 0. So when the hunger rate reaches 0, so we'll let the hunger rate go down. So we see that once the hunger rate reaches 0, our pet gets a little bit sad, right? And the health rate starts going down. So we know that if we feed him, the health rate will go back up, but we're not going to feed him for now. We're going to close the inventory menu. We're just going to buy some oranges just in case. So we see that he's getting very angry, right? So we're going to actually make the pet dead. So the pet is dead now, right? So we see that the pet died over here. So what we're going to showcase now is the revival pet functionality in the parent control. So if we save the game, we go to the settings in the top right, we save the game, and we go back to the main menu, and we go to parental controls, and we type in the password, obviously, and we confirm that. We see that if we try to revive the pet, we're going to click on the revive pet, and we're going to choose the pet game that has the dead pet. We're going to load the game. So it's going to say pet successfully revived, and we're going to go back to the exit, and we're going to continue game, and we're going to click the pet. So as you can see, we have some other save file games there, but we're going to choose the pet. We're going to load the game, and the pet is completely back to full health. So we see that the revival pet functionality is there just in case a younger child loses a bit of focus and the pet dies, and the parent can bring the pet back to life. So the last thing we're going to showcase is the take to vet functionality. So if we take the pet to the vet, we're going to see that when it visits the vet, it gets very sad and the background changes a little, but you see that the happiness decreases and the sleep decreases and the health rate increases. Obviously, in this scenario, the health bar was already full, so there was no need for a checkup, but you took him to the vet anyway. Sometimes you get concerned if your pet's acting weird, but the pet gets very sad, right? So we'll put him to sleep and let him recover some energy after going to the vet. And we see that once he's in sleep and you try to do something else with him, if you try to play, for example, it's going to tell you that your pet is currently sleeping. You can't play with them because your pet needs a bit of rest. And I believe that is all the major functionalities. But I think one last thing we can also showcase is giving him a gift. So if we try to quickly buy a gift, let's buy the cards, for example. And we give him a little gift. He gets very happy that he got a gift. So we're going to save the game and go back to main menu. And we're going to exit the game completely. And once we start up the game again, we can see that even if we completely terminate the game, all the save files are still present. So we can still continue the game and go to the pet. So that concludes our presentation for this course. We hope you guys enjoyed it. And this was Group 15. My name is Omar, and we hope you enjoyed our presentation. Thank you.